Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the monumental challenge of revitalizing Afghanistan's Bamiyan Valley. It's a heavy story about an unprecedented loss of cultural heritage. But honestly, as we're going to see, it's also this incredible testament to the boundless potential of human ingenuity. For over 1,500 years, these giant Buddhist statues stood as silent, majestic sentinels carved right into the cliff face. They represented a brilliant intersection of diverse religious and cultural traditions along ancient trade routes. But today, we aren't just looking backward at the past. We're going to explore how modern science, architecture, and international collaboration are stepping in to heal a deep cultural wound and, quite possibly, redefine how we preserve history entirely. To really grasp the sheer scale of the puzzle researchers are facing here, you've got to consider this staggering number: 89%. According to the source data, 89% of the ancient Buddhist statues were completely pulverized into dust during the tragic 2001 iconoclasm, which is the deliberate destruction of cultural and religious icons. Because the sheer energy of the blast was trapped inside the closed environment of the niches, combined with the naturally low consistency of the local rock, the vast majority of these priceless, towering monuments literally just vanished into thin air. So here's our roadmap for how experts plan to solve this seemingly impossible situation. Today, we're going to cover, number 1, the Bamiyan restoration puzzle. Number 2, rebuilding the wider valley. 3, proposals for the niche. And finally, 4, a high-tech marble rebirth. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, the Bamiyan restoration puzzle, and exactly why traditional reassembly is completely impossible here. You might have heard of a process used in archaeology called anastomosis. Basically, it's the careful reassembling of existing, dismembered parts of a ruined monument. Think of it like gluing a broken vase back together, piece by piece. But in Bamiyan, this standard practice is completely off the table. Remember that 89% number? Since so much was destroyed, a mere 11% of the original volume actually survived the blast intact. There simply are no large original pieces left to reassemble. And to make matters worse, the few fragments that do remain were severely weakened by the explosion. The shockwaves caused microscopic fractures deep inside the ancient sandstone, which makes any traditional physical reconstruction fundamentally impossible. You can really see that stark reality when you look at the site today. The niches are now dominated by the profound absence of the statues. The sheer scale of that cavernous empty space turns the whole site into an immense archaeological and ethical puzzle. In fact, the destruction itself is now considered part of the site's outstanding universal value by UNESCO. That means the tragedy is literally a globally protected part of its enduring story now. So the core question becomes, how on earth do you honor the memory of what was lost without erasing the deeply important history of its tragic destruction? Moving right along to section 2, rebuilding the wider valley, also known as the downstream approach. Rather than just hyper-focusing on those empty niches, experts are proposing we zoom out and look at the bigger picture. This brings us to a holistic strategy researchers call the downstream approach. This strategy starts by looking at the southern branch of the ancient Silk Road. By linking historic sites like Jam, Band-e-Amir, and Bamiyan, the goal is to create an integrated development model for the entire region. The Silk Road acts as this perfect geographic backbone for it. The whole idea is that true, lasting revitalization absolutely has to impact the economic, the social, and the environmental domains of the local community, not just the physical cliffs. This broader plan relies on a sequence of crucial sub-projects to revitalize the local community long before the statues are even addressed. These aren't just architectural fixes, they're vital lifelines for daily life. Step 1 is reconstructing the ancient bazaar that used to stand in front of the Great Western Buddha, which will bring commerce back. Step 2 is mitigating severe soil erosion at the nearby ancient red fortress of Shahr-e-Gholghola to preserve the environment. Step 3 involves revitalizing existing caves at Shahr-e-Gholghola to become functional social gathering spaces. And finally, step 4 is creating dedicated underground museum spaces. So the crucial point here is that before anyone touches the eastern niche itself, the plan requires carefully clearing the remaining scattered fragments that are currently degrading the landscape. Once the area is cleared, they plan to build these stunning, modern underground museums right in front of the niches. Imagine standing in this subterranean space, looking straight up through an open roof hole directly at the massive cliff above you. Inside, immersive 3D reconstructions would help visitors fully grasp the breathtaking magnificence of the lost heritage, all while physically standing right there in its shadow. Let's move on to section 3, proposals for the niche, and see how they plan on balancing memory and rebirth. Any physical intervention inside the niche itself has to adhere to some incredibly strict UNESCO-aligned guidelines. It's a really delicate balancing act. First off, the solution absolutely cannot make Bamiyan a renewed target for terrorists, so it needs to be easily replicatable and relatively low cost. Also, any new parts must be clearly distinguishable from the original archaeological rock. This adheres to the Venice Charter, which is basically the global rulebook for conserving ancient historical sites. Oh, and it must be fully reversible and temporary, ensuring the ancient stone of the site is never permanently altered by modern hands. Based on those strict rules, we can visually compare the first two core philosophies. Proposal 1 argues for leaving the niches entirely empty. In this view, the void itself is left untouched as a stark monument to human irrationality and a quiet memory of the tragedy. Proposal 2 takes a totally different approach. It suggests erecting a temporary 1:1 scale 2D fiberglass panel on light scaffolding. This would recreate the missing silhouette photographically, giving the local population a chance to see the shapes of the Buddhist statues standing in their usual place once again, effectively bridging the gap between loss and visual memory. But now, let's look at Section 4, a high-tech marble rebirth, utilizing Carrara marble and robotics. The most awe-inspiring solution is definitely Proposal 3, which bridges 6th century Afghan history with cutting-edge modern Italian technology. This high-tech rebirth process begins by creating an unprecedented 3D digital computer model. To pull this off without the original statues, scientists are stitching together hundreds of historical photographs taken between the late 1960s and the year 2000. And what's brilliant here is that they're using amateur vacation photos alongside professional ones, relying on everyday human memories to literally recreate history. They then cross-reference those historical images with brand new, high-quality modern laser scans of the empty niche to calibrate the physical scale perfectly. Moving into the execution phase, once that highly detailed 3D model is locked in, human hands aren't actually going to be doing the heavy lifting. Instead, the world's largest anthropomorphic robotic arms, guided by expert craftsmen, will carve this digital model into brilliant white Carrara marble. They're using the exact same world-renowned marble quarry favored by Michelangelo, but now they're utilizing the absolute pinnacle of modern computer numerical control technology to resurrect a lost masterpiece. To ensure the structure is temporary and reversible, the engineers aren't just building a solid block. The design features a hyper-thin marble shell that is only 10 to 15 centimeters thick. By using an advanced double-curved carving technique, the robots can remove the vast majority of the interior material. This keeps the structure incredibly light, which is exactly how they satisfy those strict UNESCO rules for it to be a temporary, fully reversible installation, all while maintaining the massive structural stability needed for the statue to stand tall against the elements. Let's just look at the sheer engineering specs required to pull this off, because they are staggering. Even at that remarkable thinness, this highly engineered shell will still weigh an awe-inspiring 280 tons. To make it transportable and modular, it will be divided across 120 interlocking pieces, with each block weighing about 1,600 kilograms. Because of this massive weight, specialized geotechnical testing is an absolute must. This includes using ground-penetrating radar to look deep inside the cliff face and running seismic analysis to ensure the ancient rock below has a solid bearing area of at least 9.5 to 14 square meters to safely support that tremendous load. Now, you might be wondering, why pristine white marble for a sandstone cliff? Well, the choice of Carrara marble isn't just about aesthetics. It's actually a deliberate and profound cultural homage. Ancient Afghans traditionally wore heavy white coats to protect themselves against the harsh, freezing winters of the region. So, placing this brilliant white stone where the original statue stood beautifully mirrors the traditional aesthetic of the local people. It creates a stunning, enduring visual link between the natural landscape, the people who inhabit it, and the monument itself. It really is a fascinating intersection of archaeology, history, and robotics. As we conclude this explainer, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. When the unimaginable happens, should destroyed heritage be left untouched as a permanent, quiet memory of its loss? Or should it be reborn through the technology of tomorrow to demonstrate the profound resilience of human culture? It's an incredible question to ponder, and whatever path Bamiyan ultimately takes, it will undoubtedly shape the future of historical preservation worldwide. Thank you so much for exploring this remarkable journey with me.